Sometimes things seem to be so much more connected than we originally think. It feels like when we become adults, a lot of the suffering we do seems like it's stemmed from asking, how did I get here? Whether it be in a relationship or at your job or with your kids or with your friend group, and you literally ask the question, how did I get here? Like, how is this my life? We ask that question and we can't pinpoint when it got like this, how it got like this. You get there and you're like, if I knew it would be like this, I would have done something different. But how did it get here? And when did this happen? Like, when did it get here? I feel like we have like this internal autopilot that, like, a part of us that focuses on surviving life on a daily, like survival, just getting through life, getting through the day, getting through your job, getting through your everything. We're so good at adapting our ability to just go with the flow of traffic, as opposed to stopping and saying, is this the direction I want to go? Is this the right speed for me? Because you don't want to cause an accident. So you adapt. You adapt with the situation. But I think sometimes, because of how good we are, we move we move smoother than what it would take us to actually stop and ask ourselves, can I see the pattern that I'm building right now? How many things did I literally build but didn't really want? And how many of these things did I achieve that were totally intentional? I'll use a personal, just like being in a relationship, which I haven't been in years, but being in a relationship and being in it for, I've never had a relationship longer than 3 years because I just haven't. But you look at it and you're like, why am I here? Do I want to be here? Sometimes the speed is so efficient that we don't actually step in time and say, wait, what's happening right now? Like, do I want to do this? And then you kind of just keep going with it. And then you get so far in and you're like, I can't even pinpoint when it turned into what it is now. I think some of the suffering comes from, you acknowledge this is your role, this is my role, this is what you do. But then there's this whole existence where the expectations are actually different, but it's like unspoken, but everybody knows it. And I think we are sort of tormented by these dual realities. In a relationship, let's say you have a partner, a man and a woman, or a man and a man, woman and woman, just partnership, where the visible contract is, we're partners, we work together, we help each other carry the load. But then there's a reality that's different, even though you only acknowledge, I help you, you help me, we work together, but in reality, there's one person carrying more. There's one person doing more. There's one person carrying the emotional load. And the expectations are quietly different than the expectations that are acknowledged. You can say, yeah, we're in this together. But everybody knows that's not really what's happening. It's kind of like when somebody says to you, well, you don't have to do it. But deep down, you know you do. You know if you don't do it, it either won't get done or you will be punished for not doing it, silently punished, where something may not be your responsibility. But it is, though. We pick up the slack, we do a favor, we do something extra, you help a friend, you help a family member, you help a partner, and then you do it again. And then you do it again because it's needed again. We adapt to the gap, what needs to be done. We pick it up, we do the extra thing, and it's acknowledged at first, appreciation. But just like we adapt, the other side adapts to our adaptation. And it's like the environment now is used to us doing something that was only supposed to be temporary. And now the baseline has shifted to now depending on you doing that thing permanently without it really being discussed, or it's the invisible contract. It's like they'll say, well, you don't have to, but you know you do. And I think a lot of the distress we have, especially as adults, is having these two coexisting contracts, like one that everyone acknowledges, and then there's the one that actually governs behavior. You can't really pinpoint when it became normal. You're not going into it thinking that's going to end up being your permanent job. You can't really challenge it because if you bring it up, it doesn't get acknowledged. It's like, well, you don't have to. I didn't tell you you had to do it. It's just a pattern, I think, that shows up in so many different arenas in life. What people say they expect from you versus what they actually expect from you so often is different. And I'm not saying this from like a victim place, because I really think even evolutionarily, is that a word? Evolutionarily? That's a cool word. As humans, from the beginning of time, when there's a threat, we go into fight or flight. That is a literal adaptation for survival, to stay efficient. But sometimes we adapt so quickly, it moves quicker than our intellect to say, this is going to become a pattern. Someone's going to be dependent on this to stay a routine. How did I get here? How did this become normal? How is this my life? Like, when did this happen? And I think a lot of times we're hard on ourselves and we are just like, how did I not stop this? How did I not get out of this relationship? How did I let my job treat me like garbage for, this long? And we have like this aha moment, or maybe we don't. Maybe we push it back down. But I do think we're hard on ourselves and look at ourselves like we didn't see something. I think it's actually part of a mechanism that originally is something that kept us alive, to avoid destruction or harm. You just kind of go with wherever the least resistance is, just to stay afloat. And then sometimes you look back and you're like, how did I get here? When you look and you're like, why would I do that? Like, how did I let this get so far? Or how did I, But we don't really look at how cool having a system that is kind of like when the lights go off like the emergency system kicks in and is like, you got to keep going. You have to adapt to your situation to survive, you know? And sometimes that just moves so quickly. It's like being on autopilot in your car and you're like, dude, how did I drive to work? Like, I don't even remember having to tell myself where to drive. I just drove there, like on autopilot. It seemed like they would have no link, but this like invisible contract thing seems legit. It feels like I can pinpoint it in a lot of situations where it's like the curated expectations and then the real expectations. That's all I have today. This was a true rough brain dump. Tell me what you think about the invisible contract. I think that's pretty legit, to be honest, because so often we're just like, how do we get here? How did I get here? Why do I feel all these things that technically I shouldn't feel? If you look at the fine print. Okay, that's it.